Liesl, today's episode of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to the good people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
I love Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
How can you not?
They're pretty legit.
It's a great business, and it's even greater people. So local people running that business, doing great things, and it's the home for enlightened style shades.
Enlightened style shades. I just like saying that.
And it sounds kind of big time.
It does.
Sounds very big time. And look, they don't just do shades. Like almost all of your interior decorating needs, they're there. They can help you get them. I even have pillows. I have pillows on my couch from Budget Blinds.
I didn't know you had pillows.
Yeah. Throw
That's
pillows.
Amazing.
I know. And who doesn't love throw pillows?
Everybody loves
Really?
throw pillows, and supporting a local business that gives back to the community is always a win.
Always a win. So when you're ready to make your home the best home it can be, go visit our friends at Budget Blinds of Lee Summit. Tell them Liesl and Nick sent you. Hello and welcome back to the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast. I'm your host, Nick Parker, and back with me for some reason, it's Liesl Hayes.
Hello, Lee Summit. You keep inviting me back.
Invite is a questionable word.
Well, there are calendar invites, so technically you invite me to hang out with you. It's just because you haven't found a better option yet.
Right, that's true. So, there's openings, folks. Give us a call.
Oh my, did you really just announce my job? Hey, why don't you tell them how much you pay?
You get coffee, sometimes tacos, and sometimes adult beverages.
There you have it.
Hey, we've got a special guest. We like doing local business owners. We like helping promote their businesses, talking about what they're doing. And, if people haven't been to the businesses yet, let's see if we can convince some more people to do it, because one of the things we always want to do is promote local business here in Lee Summit. So welcome an entrepreneurial friend that I met when I first came to Bridge Space, Jeremy Springer. Welcome.
Hi.
You got to point at the camera and say hi.
That's so weird.
I know. The video stuff is still weird for me, too.
Yeah, it's okay.
I just pretend it's not there.
It's Big Brother.
Yeah.
We're used to
Yeah,
it.
like I'm not going to learn anything that Google doesn't already know about you.
Yeah.
That's true.
And with AI, this has already been recorded probably. And
I actually scripted this and then put a chip in you, and you're just saying what I scripted.
Oh, good.
yeah.
Yeah, we're terrified now.
You have a couple of businesses here in town, and I think one of the reasons I'm intrigued is because they have absolutely nothing to do with each other, really, as far as they're not in the same field or industry even. Yeah. And these are some things I've thought about as a business owner, but I get scared, so I haven't had the guts to do it. But you own a digital marketing company, Stone Amp.
Yes.
And you also own a new coffee shop in town, the Fillmore.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. I guess the Fillmore. That's where my brain has been lately. So don't get me wrong. The other company is doing fantastic, but we've been wrenching on that thing for 6 years, and we've got all of our processes and everything in place. And it's kind of, it's not on autopilot, but my wife runs that company now. We've trimmed back some of our clientele, so we're just specializing on a handful of clients that are really near and dear to our hearts. So we have the Pareto principle running right now. She's 80% that company and 20% the cafe, and I'm 80% the cafe and 20% in that company. So it's been a really nice balance.
That's really cool, and what a cool point to be at with the business, and also a hard lesson to learn, that you can scale back to the clients that are near and dear to you, that means something, the work means something to you, and the lesson that you should do that. Yeah,
well, interesting enough, have you ever given advice that in your mind, this is solid sound advice, but you don't necessarily follow it?
I have a teenager, so this is every hour of every day.
This is every day of our lives, because we have teenagers. But so what was that advice?
Yeah, so I was visiting with a massage therapist, and we were talking about her clients. I just ask people questions all the time, like, what's going on in your world? What does your business look like? And we were talking about her clientele, and and I talk through my massages, which she thinks that's just the weirdest thing. And I'm like, well, here's the deal. This is me relaxing. I'm laying here still.
That is
you know
so
what I mean?
Weird.
But I got to keep going, or I can't get too relaxed. I got things to do. And so she calls me a weirdo for that. But We were talking.
I'm going to agree with her.
Yeah, it's hard to turn it off sometimes.
Oh, I'm already starting to Enneagram type him right now.
I know. Her personality assessments are happening.
I know, right?
Yeah, and she calls me a weirdo every time. I'm getting better about it. But early on, I'm asking her about her clientele and how busy is she and what does her schedule look like, because I like to imagine what other people are doing on this planet, like what their day is filled. What does it look like? And so she gave me the rundown, and at the end of my massage, I pay her. She hadn't told me the price, and so I'm just guessing, right? And so I pay her, and then I put a tip on it and Venmo it over, or cash, Apple Pay, something like that. And her phone ding, and she goes, this is wrong, way wrong. Like, no. And she was embarrassed, and I went, wait, what's going on? I just figured it's this much per hour, and I threw a tip on there, and she was like, oh, no, I charge much, much less for this. She came to me on my time. She set up, she did everything, boom, and I'm like, no, I'm paying you for this. Like, I didn't have to go somewhere. You're right on time. Like, mm-mm. And in fact, I don't understand why you're not charging this amount that I paid you. And she went, well, I don't. And it was like a confidence value thing. Like, I don't know that I'm really that valuable. Yeah. And I'm like, you're that valuable. And what you need to do is up your prices, and you're going to have some fallout, and that should be fine. And she's like, okay. Give advice, but maybe sometimes we don't follow it. She came back the next time I saw her. She's like, I up my prices. Life's awesome. My schedule's freer. I'm making more money.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I mean, I think that's a thing that a lot of us struggle with as business owners is, really knowing our value and our worth. And I think raising prices is always a little bit scary, right? Because there's the reality that
bit?
Yeah, really scary that we're going to lose some of our clients. So tell me how you haven't taken that advice.
Have you ever noticed that the customer that invests the least has the largest megaphone?
Always.
100%.
The largest and mean. And
yeah.
it's the craziest thing. I heard this, this is such a common thing, but you hear it, it's in one ear, out the other, and then it happens to you, you go, oh my gosh, this is a real thing. And so you just kind of look at who's making the investment and how much time are we spending on the work we're doing for them, but also how much time are we spending in text messages and emails and explaining and educational and all these things, like triaging their concerns. And it starts getting simpler and simpler to go, geez, not worth the squeeze on this. Like, we love you. We love doing business with you, but it feels like we're over-delivering like you're getting every single penny out of this, which you should, but that means you don't value what you're already receiving, right? And I think that kind of creates that, am I valuable or not? Because if I were, why would people be treating me this way?
Yeah, and how did you get there? Oh, look at me. I interrupted you.
I'm actually really proud of her for that.
I know. I rarely do that.
I mean, you'd think I'd be upset, but I'm really kind of proud of her.
Yeah, I'm working
really?
I'm working on my hosting skills. Usually I let Nick I'm learning from him. So that's where we're at. So
wait, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
This isn't the Liesl show?
No.
Oh.
Well, she's more liked than I am.
Oh,
it is sort of the Liesl show, right? Yeah, okay. No, it's more than
I'm just saying the way this is going.
I know, right? Now I'm taking over.
I know. I like I said, I should be upset. I'm really kind of proud of her.
Okay, so I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to let you ask a question.
Actually, that's very entrepreneurial of you. Because what you've done is you've created this thing, and now you're handing it over for someone else to run it so you can go about doing the next thing.
Best boss I ever had. Took me out one time, and we were going to lunch. Probably lunch, because this dude everything is a lunch meet. Like, that's how he lives his life. But he said, look, I want to tell you something. If in 3 years you and I are in these same jobs, we screwed up.
Yeah.
You are great at what you do, but you should not be doing this in 3 years. Yeah. And I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing in 3 years. So you hold me accountable, and I'm going to push you. Oh. And I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I ever got.
Yeah. I think that's a great piece of advice.
And then I tried then when I got to be like the boss at the next job I took, right, was where I was the boss, and I tried to live by that, and I did not.
It's hard to.
Well, it's hard to in practice.
It's very hard to put into practice, right? I mean, and you've had employees of different types at both businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're worried about the bottom line. You're worried about getting the job done. I hired them to do this. Yeah. So sometimes it's hard to remember, like, I should also make them better.
Yeah. Well, I am so guilty of this. I care more, it feels like I care more about someone's success than they do. And that's either a really good thing, and it inspires you to invest more and more into a person. It can also be very debilitating because you go down that path, and as much as you're trying to pour into somebody, they just don't care enough of what you're pouring into them.
That's a rough situation.
That's tricky. And so, and then they get to a point where they're comfortable. They don't want to grow. They're good. Like, I've heard this a lot. I'm good. No, I'm good. I don't want more responsibility. I don't need more money. I'm good.
I don't know I'm curious how you responded to that, because I've been in that. I've had that situation too with employees, and I don't know what to do with it, because there's a part of me that's, well, I'm glad they're happy and they're satisfied and they feel like they're in a good place. But then the other part of me is like, but are they really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to weigh in only because I so know your Enneagram type now. But here's the thing. Here's what I think about, though. I do think as entrepreneurs, we have this drive. Like, if we aren't constantly making goals, if we aren't thinking through, what we need to do to get the business in the place that we want it in 3 years, like we just have this natural drive. And I think that there are people in this world, and I like to call them like some of our operations people. And we had them when I used to work at Cerner, but we didn't value them. And the only reason that I think that was a mistake is because not everyone can be the entrepreneurial visionary person, right? There are people who are very happy staying in the same job for the rest of their lives, and they're really damn good at it. And so I think we as entrepreneurs, it's hard because we look at people and we're like, I don't get that, because everything I do is about getting better and moving forward. And there are people who are good just being I don't want to say just being, it's not fair. They're happy and content being a master in one thing.
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And sometimes I think I'm just crazy.
You're not crazy. You're just an entrepreneur.
Well, but
which I think might be it might be a synonym.
We're crazy.
We're a little off, because I always have the utmost respect for somebody that has that stickability year after year, decade after decade, and they've picked that one thing, and they just stay with it, and hopefully at the end of it all, they've built a nice nest egg. They've raised they've raised the kind of life around them that they wanted outside of work, and everything just fits together. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I think I tend to forget we're not all the same. We don't all have the same drive. We don't have the same ambitions in what we're going at. And like the cafe, for example, it's weird because I'll have baristas that I'm like, oh my God, I hope I can keep her forever. She's amazing. But then the other side of it is I'm hearing them talking about going to college and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want you to win at life. Like, you need to get out of here as soon as possible. Why are you a barista? But
right,
so
right.
It's weird because I want that person around me that is ambitious and they want to continue to grow their life. But the other side of me is like, no, don't leave me. Like, you're the best. Don't leave ever. And so
just work here on weekends. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Just drive back. It's only 4 hours, man. Whatever. Just get here. But yeah, it's weird. And I think that there is no perfect world. You have to be willing to embrace all of the challenges that can be perceived as negative, and just like a resource that comes in and you're just gushing over because, oh my God, they're great with customers. They're great with what they do. They look the part, like, oh my gosh, they're repping this business like you wouldn't believe. And they do it happily. Oh, please don't ever leave me. It's weird because those are the people I want more for.
Yes.
Right?
Right, yeah.
But in itself, you're just like, I want more for you, but in order for you to get that more, you can't be here being you, like doing you here.
I think that's a part of the, I don't want this to sound too cheesy, but a part of the entrepreneurial spirit that isn't talked about as much. Like, I think most of us, we want whatever it is that we're doing to have an impact on the community, impact on other people. I mean,
Absolutely.
Like we want to make a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think
absolutely.
that like, yeah, if I can build up their lives.
Yeah. But there's so many layers to that too, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just your customer, it's not just your community. I mean, it's the people that you're creating an opportunity for them to further themselves in life, and you get real personal with the people that you work with, and you get to cheering for them, and you want to rally behind them and see them win at life. And for me, I'm just trying to keep that in perspective that this cafe is probably just a stepping stone as far as employment goes for people that are just making their way. I think if somebody came to me and they said, I want to work here and I never want to leave, I don't know that I would have the same level of respect.
You might need to start checking your mailbox.
Why is that?
There might be things hidden in there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but what I love about what you're saying, Jeremy, is it's ultimately you are secure in the fact of what your business is and the purpose. And, it's hard as a manager, a business owner to let go of our really good people, right? But we also want to encourage them to grow, to do something different. And I think too, when we're talking about a workforce that's a little bit different, right? Like, I mean, when I owned the End, the workforce was very different than who I worked with at Cerner. It's just very different. And so I think understanding that goals are different, understanding that people might want to go in a different direction. Sometimes you do get the interns, you do get the college students. But what I'm hearing you say is that you're very comfortable you're like this incubator to help people get to the next thing.
Yeah, I think that's a happy accident. You know what I mean? Any
Tell
business.
us more. Tell us more about why is it a happy accident?
Well, because when you put on your business owner hat, you want resources in there that they're reliable, they're dependable. You don't have to worry that the job's going to get done, right? And the customer's going to be taken care of. And that should be it. When you're in it and you're working alongside people and you get to know them, it becomes a little bit different in that. There was a weird look right there.
My look over there was that I knew that he was letting me drive this thing, and I was like, you can ask some questions.
Oh, okay.
That was actually the look. I gave him like the little smirk.
I digressed over there.
The sad thing is I think we're now hitting that point where there's the silent signals.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. Musicians do that.
Yes.
They're rocking out, and they look over and go, it's your turn to solo. It's your turn for a fill, or we're getting ready to get out of this thing.
Problem is I have no musical talent.
Oh, maybe you haven't listened to enough Taylor Swift.
Maybe you haven't. Maybe you too need to spend $1,000 to go to one of those concerts.
There we go.
If you'll buy my ticket, I'll make bracelets.
Oh, man, that's almost a deal.
Yeah,
right?
That's totally a deal.
I don't know how to make bracelets.
I will paint nails because clearly no one else knows how to do it. I think you can
figure it out. I want to switch gears a little bit because I do want to take a little bit of time to pimp out your business and let's tell people about the Fillmore.
Okay.
But I also want to ask, why a coffee shop? I mean, you've spent your life. I know you a little bit, right? So you have spent your adult life in the world of code nerding, websites, digital marketing. What made you think?
Yeah, I think I needed
coffee
something.
Shop?
I think I needed
other
something.
than I know your love of caffeine.
I needed something completely different. Also, too, it's kind of a test in business. It's weird when you're doing things in the back office and no one really knows you exist. You're hitting buttons on the keyboard and you're pulling things together and crunching numbers, and it's fulfilling because you're paying your bills. You make pretty good money. You and then take that and go start a business with that skill set, and that makes you a completely different person. Now you've got to learn sales and interacting with people, and this is really weird to me because I don't know how to explain it. I'm great being by myself. I don't need to be around people. Then I'm forced into that situation, and something happens inside where it's like, ooh, I need to be around people. This is awesome. And I'm talking about building the digital marketing business, right? While building that business, not having an office space, we talked a little bit about being here at Bridge Space. I was in and out of coffee houses all over the place. Give me that internet connection. Give me some caffeine. Let me pound the keys here. And I'm getting used to being around people and the hubbub and the noise and everything and being seen. Like, it's that in itself is a different experience than hanging out behind a computer. And
right.
And so there's like this weird natural evolution for my personality, I guess, or my ID or whatever you want to call it. But who I am as a person has changed dramatically in the last 7 years. The coffee thing has always been like a weird little passion project of mine. I don't know, like in my head, I had this thing going on like, oh my God, one day I'm going to have this cafe. It was the last on the list. If you talk to my wife, she thinks I'm crazy. I want to own multiple businesses. I want them all running, doing their own thing. A friend of mine, we were having lunch one day, and he said, you've probably never heard this, but you're just a planter. Like, you're the guy that likes to plant seeds and then go on to the next thing. And I'm like, oh my God, that is who I am. Like, I like to plant the seed and get it to where you just see a little blade of grass or growth coming out of the ground. And then I'm like, I'm done. Here, I water this one 3 times a day. I feed it once a week. Like, you take care of this. I got to go plant some more seeds. And so that kind of twisted my perspective a little bit. Okay, is that true? And if so, then I need to get a good team and release these things and let somebody else take care of them. Jody, she's doing an awesome job for the other company. And fortunately for me, early on, I told her, hey, you're going to be the face for this as far as like account management and all of that, because you're nice to look at and you're nice to listen to, and no one wants to look at this little scraggly dude. So even though I can nerd it up on them, they don't want it. They don't want the nerdy up. They want, giving you the basic numbers and let's have a personal relationship. She's really good at that. Sorry, back to the cafe. Weird. So there's a lot of divine intervention in my mind going on around this. You guys know Ryan Waters down there?
Yeah.
Who owns,
Yes.
100.
100, yeah. I almost called it the old name.
Yeah, me too. I almost went there. He owns the building between Third Street Social and the 100. And I saw this for rent sign on there forever. It used to be old headquarters.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And
yes,
I
yes.
loved the garage doors with the opening. And when some things just jump out at you and you go, if that were mine, this is what I would do. Like, I'm always doing that. I'm looking at spaces going, if that were mine, this is what I would do. I saw the for rent sign and I went, oh my gosh. Oh, that'd be the best place for this cafe that's been marinating my brain for the last 5 years. I went up to my office and just started putting together a pro forma. I'm like, well, what would this look like? Like, seriously, what would this? And being a nerd, going into the details, really trying to articulate every little aspect of it, except for what's the actual rent of this place.
Yeah, exactly.
So I call up the number. I didn't realize Ryan owned it, so I dialed the number, and as soon as I hit, send or whatever, his name pops up, and I go, oh, well, okay, Ryan owns it. That's cool. So I call him. He's like, yeah, there's like 5 people in line for this space. But he gave me the number, and it was a little bit more than I had anticipated. And so I went, yeah, it's just not meant to be, but what a fun exercise. And at least I got this out of my head and down on paper, and here we go.
But it gets you ready for...
Yeah.
Because everybody has the idea.
Yeah.
The business idea in their head, right?
Yeah.
But once you've gone through that actual plan process, you're ready to pull the trigger when the right rent comes
Well, and that's the weird thing. That's where I'm like divine intervention, right? I'm having a conversation with some business owners, and out of nowhere, the mayor over at Unity Village goes, hey, anyone know someone that does coffee operations? And I went, hey, and he looked at me like, what? Why you didn't hear me? Like, hi. And I'm like, no, coffee. Like, so I tell him about this whole exercise I went through, and he was just like, okay, I mean, you can email that over to me. I'll look at it. I'm like, okay, cool. And I was shot in the dark.
Right.
I sent it like a few days later. He calls me. He goes, the executives over here are like head over heels about this thing. Do you want to come over and meet them? And I'm like, okay. I go over to Unity Village. I'm sitting with all their C-class execs, super nice people. But they have these questions. Like, what about this? And what about, and I'm like, oh yeah. We do this and we do that. And they were just like, okay, can you take it over next month? No.
Oh, wow. You're like, no, I absolutely cannot.
We love your plan. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. And so I was like, wow, okay, this, what is it? This escalated quickly. But no, we were getting married. Jody and I were getting married last year. And she insisted I'm every part of this wedding planning and everything else. And I thought I was just going to write checks and show up somewhere in a tuxedo, and no.
That's not how it went, huh?
No. And how it had been going for that leading up to this conversation, I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth. Like, I'm involved in this. I'm not dropping the ball on this. So they were super gracious about it, and they're like, well, and this killed me. Our busy season ends in after October. Why don't you take it over in November? That's when we're dead around here because it's winter time, and that would be a good time. And for some reason I went, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's
do it. Why not?
Open a business without any customers.
Yeah, right. That's a great idea.
And we'll just go without any customers for a few months.
What could go wrong?
That would be fantastic. Actually, it worked out really well. As you mentioned, I don't know anything about coffee. I know how to drink it and drink it all day, and it's delicious. I know what coffee I like, but aside from that, I had my little pro forma, and I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I have like the feel, the look, like all of these things so let me try to implement this. Well, completely different space. This is a different animal altogether. So I deviated from it a bit, but it's coming out better. And so this cafe is, it's interesting. There's so many systems and processes in just a cafe. Add a food component, add the coffee, add the employees, add the upkeep, add the vendors, add payroll, add on and on. It's like add. And I'm sitting here going, and I still have to put paint on the wall.
Yeah.
And I need to.
But
and
here's
I need
the thing.
furniture,
You also did, I think it's important. For anyone who's been at the Unity Village Cafe before, which I think many of us have.
Right.
I think the only part that you skipped over is just the ambiance that you have created there. And just, it was a total overhaul, right?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
It feels like it. Well, for 3 months when we opened, we had these fluorescent LED lights. And I tell everyone, for some reason, they're volume 11. For 3 months, there was no dimmer on the lights.
Volume 11.
Volume 11.
So there were lots of photo shoots happening in the cafe, right?
Without cameras, like it was just bright.
Yeah.
Just you walked in and it was your eyes heard it. Like it was just so loud. It felt like every day I walk in. Oh my gosh, ready for this root canal? You're right underneath that light. And finally, we got dimmers put on, and they had to run a wire from each light, and there's like 36 lights.
Gosh.
Oh, wow.
And I was so excited. The electricians thought I was just stupid.
Were you just standing there sliding up
and
and down?
I just slid it. Oh, look at that. Like, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Oh, that's so amazing. And
did you do that 32 times?
I should have.
Okay.
I should have done it for every day that I was underneath the hardness of those lights. But you would be amazed. Lighting alone does wonders. It just does wonders. And so you've seen we've moved in some lamps here and there, and I did that originally because they have an open mic that's been going on there for like 20 years. And day one, this gentleman, John Fry, he introduces himself and he says, "We started here 20 years ago and we'd like to come home." And I have a music background that you guys don't even know about, and so I was super excited to be on the other side of it. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do this thing. And he's like, well, I don't know if you know what you're getting into. Yeah. No, I've done this. Like, yeah, let's do this
Let's
thing.
go.
And so, in fact, this Thursday, open mic night. So we do it the first Thursday of every month, and it's like 6 to 9. It is the coolest experience. It is like going back into like the early 90s. I don't know if you... We're all old enough to remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when Westport was super chill, cool?
Oh, totally. Westport Coffee House?
Yeah. So you could just, like, you go in and just chill out and relax, and that ambiance is there. Like, the people that come to this open mic, they're there for music. Like, they're not there to socialize. They'll buy some coffee. They'll get a drink.
They're going to sit with their 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And they're going to listen to music and have coffee.
And if you're too loud, they'll give you the look. Like, we're listening. It's awesome. It's so cool. From a musician, right? It's cool. So awesome. And so, I wanted to go like, we got to create this cool ambiance. And I went to like IKEA and spent like, I don't know, $1,200 on all these funky lights and everything. And I'm hanging them from the ceilings and I'm running extension cords, and open mic is just glowing. And it's not this LED light. This is a warm, buttery light. The vibe was so cool in there. It was super awesome. Of course, I got in trouble for violating fire codes and all that stuff.
See, that's another thing that we as entrepreneurs do. We usually just ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, Assistant Chief Eden.
Yeah.
We'll fix it later.
Yeah. And Unity, they learned really fast. Okay, if we don't, like, Jeremy's asking for these things, we better get on it, or else he's going to do his thing, and that's maybe not the best alternative. So, they're amazing as far as to work with. I would tell anyone, if you're looking for office space, you're looking to do something, and I'm not sponsored by them. I pay them a lot of money for rent. I mean, they're amazing to work with, though.
That's awesome.
They're fantastic, fantastic people.
That's so cool, and I love when people find that next thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of next things, I know you always have a vision for something more, no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And the other day, when I was at a meeting with Joel Wilson at your coffee shop, there's a bar in there. So just curious, what are your plans for that?
Can he say?
Oh, can you say?
Oh, absolutely.
We love breaking news.
Well, okay, so there's a bigger vision. There's a bigger vision for that space. Everything so far has been like litmus tests. So I mentioned open mic, Embrace the Grape Catering. They've been kind enough to bring in alcohol, and they serve alcohol. Litmus test. Do we have drinkers here at this location?
Yeah.
I mean, the location is beautiful. I think we could all agree the property there is just beautiful. It almost doesn't belong in this area. Like it's really opulent almost. I mean, it's just, as far as just the buildings, they're awesome. Like, if you've never been out to Unity Village, go.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
A lot of people think that, oh, no, this is a religious place and it's offhand. You know, I'm not allowed to be there. Yeah, it's wide open to everyone.
It is not a top-of-mind place for most people in town.
It is not. But if you like architecture, like, walk around the grounds, look at these handmade doors and these really cool arches. And, I mean, it's just really neat. Second largest fountain in the state of Missouri, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those rows. It's a really cool place. So you have to have in my mind, your vision needs to kind of match where you're at. If I were down in Knobtown,
right,
it wouldn't be called the Fillmore Cafe. It would be something different, and we wouldn't be talking about like crafted cocktails. No offense to that area, but Natty Light would probably go along. You know, that'd be the staple. But so we're testing. We've been testing the alcohol piece of it. People like to knock off, relax, and do that in an environment that's cozy and cool. I mean, go down the street here to Libations. Cool atmosphere. Super cool atmosphere.
The 1909 Club upstairs.
Yeah, so cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's super. Seth's done an amazing job with that place. And I don't compete with anyone except for myself. And so I don't look at it. I'm not trying to take anyone's customers or anything like that. I'm trying to create, though, another cool space, because I can't live at Libations. And I also can't live at the Fillmore Cafe. So hopefully more people set up some spaces.
And I think what a lot of us realize, too, is we can feed each other.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Having 2 cool spaces isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest failures that entrepreneurs make is this idea that they're competing with everybody. And for me, and I think a lot of us, I think when competition comes in, it makes us better. And I mean, when people were talking about, are you upset about the boutique hotel? Like when I own the Browning, and I'm like, absolutely not. I said, if downtown Lee Summit is going to be a destination location, it can't just have the Browning. That's that's not a thing. And so I think if we can start to think about, different spaces that we're creating that, draw people to our city, it's a win for everybody. It's not like you set up right next door to him, you know?
I mean, there's a reason there's 50-11 coffee shops in this town, right?
Oh.
You're not taking from each other.
No.
We just all
five
want a
of us
place.
popped up at the same time within like 5 months.
Right.
There's 5 or 6 new coffee shops. You got the Dutch Brothers and this, what is it called? 7 Brew.
Right, yeah.
You had Dunkin' Donuts that was threatening to open right there next to that Starbucks on Douglas. You had Frost.
Yeah.
Had just opened a new coffee house, Overboard Coffee, down in Lakewood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than enough.
Everybody wants.
What I mean is there's more than
yeah.
enough customers. There's more than enough. Why not? Like, I totally embrace it. I don't want to go to the same. And I think that's where Starbucks kind of missed, is that everything is exactly the same.
Right. People want different vibes.
Yeah. I want the same coffee that I get at Messenger downtown Kansas City. So we had their techs come out and tune our grinders to where the shot is exactly the same as the shot downtown.
Nice.
I love that.
So we want the same coffee experience, but aside from that, I want I want my vibe. I want to feel cool in this space. Don't get me wrong, that place is beautiful down there, but it's also a 22-minute drive and parking's lousy, and I don't know. It's a bunch of younger people, and I'm a bit older and not as stylish as I used to be, so I can't really hang.
I think we're pretty stylish.
I still think you're cool, Jeremy.
Oh,
I mean, I think that we're pretty Gucci.
Pretty Gucci.
Pretty Gucci. That's a teenager word.
Okay.
I get to learn lots
wait. I got one
amazing
for you.
words. Go.
Your outfit is slay.
Oh, nice.
Huh?
I've not heard that one, but that's not surprising.
It's a good one. That's a good one.
That's not surprising.
Did I use it right?
I think you absolutely
Can
did.
you edit out me asking if I used it right?
No. That's actually, we're going to play that loud.
I think it can also be a verb, right? Like, you're slaying it.
Yes, I think
I've
so.
heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
I think it can too.
Well, on that note, I think it's a good idea. Hey, where is the Fillmore, Jeremy?
Oh, boy. So this is fun. It is at, I want to say 1901 Southwest Blue Parkway. However, there's maybe 30 addresses for the same location. When we were doing the lease agreements and everything else, they're like, well, it's 800 because they flip-flop some plots, and the hotel is really 700. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. It's kind of like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with all this. And so when I'm asked what the address is, I'm like, it's the 700 building over at Unity Village. Like, you'll find it.
There we go. The
Figure it
Fillmore
out.
Cafe.
Absolutely.
The 700 building at Unity Village.
Yeah.
People should get out there. What are your hours?
Every day, 7 to 4.
Awesome.
Nice.
And back to the boozy thing, I am working on the liquor license ever so slowly.
That is not a speedy process.
It is
It's
it's daunting.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to have to deal with, it's a different municipality, and
Yeah.
you got a lot.
You got a lot going
Silver
on.
lining.
Okay, tell us.
County and state. I don't have to deal with city.
Oh, that is
Silver
that is
lining.
lucky. So if we, want to have a cup of coffee or hear about your events, where can we follow you on social? Do you
Of
have
course,
social?
Facebook, because I'm borderline boomer.
You're
So-
borderline boomer.
I like boomer adjacent.
I like that too. Sub boomer. Yeah, so Facebook usually is where we're posting most of the stuff. I'm trying to be a little bit more intentional with our newsletter, which you go out to the website, thefillmorecafe.com. You can sign up for that. The cobbler's kids get no shoes. So our website is literally like some template, throw some stuff on it, and okay, that's done, check. On to the next thing, which I shouldn't be saying that out loud because we have a digital marketing company, but back to
The mechanic's car.
you pay attention to who's paying you,
Right.
and the Fillmore's not currently paying too much money towards the marketing. But Facebook would be a great place. Instagram, we try to be, it's the same thing, the Fillmore Cafe. We try to be active out there, but it's the weirdest thing. People will come to me and go, I got this great way to get more people here. And I go, okay, well, here's the dumbest thing you're ever going to hear. I'm not we love our customers. I don't need shoulder to shoulder all day long. Like, people came to me when we first opened and went, no, please don't. And I went, well, what's wrong? Everyone's now going to know about this, and everyone's going to be here, and this is like my special spot, and now it's going to go away, and how dare you? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to push hard. marketing for a little bit. Like I want to make sure we're on fire. If I'm going to invest the money into marketing, I've got to get a return on an investment. So that's where I say it's the dumbest thing to say as a business owner is I don't want customers. Of course I do. But I don't know that we're necessarily ready for prime time 50 people walk through the door at the same time. I think it's going to create a bad customer experience.
You got to work out your processes.
Yeah. And and the thing is, I can go to YouTube and you can YouTube everything, right? There's something there's something fun about if figuring it out on your own or stubborn. I don't know, one of the two. But yeah, come see us there. Check it out. Oh, one thing I do want to mention real quick. Sorry, it feels like we're going to wrap up. Monthly, we switch out the artwork. And so we've had like amazing artists come in, and it's anywhere from oils, acrylics, to photography. This Saturday we're switching out, and there's an artist from Overland Park who's got some phenomenal stuff I'm really excited about. And the whole vibe's going to change.
Awesome.
Like
I love that. That's so cool.
That you and I think that's what's awesome about art. Like you can just by flipping the display, you can change the whole vibe.
Oh, yeah. It's weird. It takes me a hot minute to get used to this place again. It's really cool, but it's like hearing an album for the first time, like one of your bands that you really like, and you hear it and you're like, what is this?
Like I love them, but wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm still in because I love them. But all of this is junk, and then you have to listen to it a few more times. You're like, this is probably their best album ever.
Right. Third playthrough, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. That's how the changing of the art is, where you walk in, you go, oh my, I don't know if I like this place anymore. This is too much. And then it's like, wow, this is a cool feel, cool vibe.
All right, my last question.
Yes, sir.
What's the Jeremy Springer coffee order?
Oh man, I'm so boring. I always do an Americano with an extra shots.
Me too.
You know
That's
what?
Exactly what I drink.
You know what? Simplicity. There's beauty in it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like all of the things.
Really?
I mean, I vary my orders.
Okay, I will tell you, I had to stop doing this. We started doing the flavored infused Red Bulls.
Oh. Okay, I do not order anything with Red Bull.
Here's the deal.
Oh, I would
No.
be so all over that.
Here's the deal. I don't like the taste of Red Bull.
Yes.
I cannot stand
God,
it.
I love it.
Horrible.
Oh, but you put some watermelon flavoring on top of it, and kind of a little bit of sparkling water. You cannot taste the Red Bull, and all of a sudden, I am happy. This is a delicious drink, and I'm bouncing off the wall.
You don't need help with that.
Not anymore. I have Red. No.
Okay, you just gave me a really good idea, but because I love the Red Bull. You know this. I drink Red Bull all the time. It's so not healthy for me, but
that's fine.
It's the fuel for some entrepreneurs, I guess.
I am a sucker for whatever, like shops that do the drink of the week or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for whatever weird thing you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna try it. I may not like it.
See, I love that.
But I just want to try it. Like if you're doing something weird, let me try it.
So when you're talking about Enneagrams, I always like when I'm getting to know someone, for some reason the consumer adoption curve pops into my head. So for me,
we're getting deep. He just pulled out the consumer adoption curve. It's a good one.
For me, Nick is like an early adopter, right?
Yeah, he totally is.
He'll see something on the
100%.
sign and be like, "Oh, I love the way that they wrote that E in lavender. Yeah, give me that lavender drink."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What about you? Where do you fall?
Oh, no. I'm like I'm not the guy that you force me to change, but I'm his distant cousin.
Yeah.
Like I'm the guy that I literally just updated from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 8 because it has the button on it.
Oh, you wanted the button still.
I'm the guy that I'm lingering like, don't take away my button. If I can get a phone with a button, give me the button.
It took a while to get used to no button, but yeah, no, I'm totally that way with especially tech toys.
Yeah.
If a new fancy thing comes, I want it.
I could see that.
And that's why I'm excited about AI stuff.
Oh, I'm excited about it too. I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
I'm really scared
Seems
of
healthy.
it. I'm really scared of it.
I'm scared too.
All right, before we go on, because we're going to go for 3 more hours if we let ourselves.
I know.
I think we could too.
We definitely could.
Jeremy, I want to thank you for coming on and talk to us about the Fillmore Cafe.
Thank you.
700 building at Unity Village.
Yeah.
Everybody should go have a cup of coffee. Maybe not you and 49 friends at the same time, but everybody should go have some coffee.
I agree.
Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Tell them Nick and Liesl sent you.
Yeah, you should do that.
Oh,
tell
I like
Nick
that.
and Lisa sent you. That'll wrap us up for this week. We'll talk to everybody next time.